an hour prior to the service.
Yeah.
And Jennings is going to come.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
Doesn't think she can lift like the steps. So
Oh, okay, all
will
right.
you be able to carry them down the steps or?
No, because I've got the book. I'm going to get Judith to do it.
All right.
Judith to do it.
Yes, let me just thanks. Yes. Thanks for that.
No, I mean like the list of stuff you want to do today.
Oh, you're just doing this in before?
No, not that. No, like even the stuff I don't do.
No, I haven't got a list for you, sorry.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Modani lefanecha, melechai v'kayam. Modani lefanecha, melechai v'kayam. She'achezata b'nishmati, b'chemla b'emunatecha. She'achezata b'nishmati, b'chemla b'emunatecha. And we are on page 192 with Ma Tovu. Ma Tovu, Olecha Yaakov, Olecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ohalacha Yaakov, ohalacha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Vani parofastecha, avuvaitecha, eshtachavi elechal kochecha, beyirotecha. Ma tovu, ohalacha Yaakov, ohalacha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ohalacha Yaakov, ohalacha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti me'on betecha, u'mekom mishkan kevodecha. Vani eshtachavi ve'echa, efrecha lifnei Adonai osi. Ma tovu, ohalacha Yaakov, ohalacha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ohalacha Yaakov, ohalacha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Vani tefilati lecha, Adonai et ratzon. Elohim parofastecha, haneini bemet yeshecha. Ma tovu, ohalacha Yaakov, ohalacha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ohalacha Yaakov, ohalacha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Neil, we've got a couple of visitors. Could you get a couple of sidurim? Thanks. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to Temple David on another warm and sunny Shabbat morning. I said that last week. We seem to have a lot of warm and sunny mornings at the moment. Welcome also to those of you who are joining us on the Temple David YouTube live stream. It's lovely to have you with us this morning as well. Let us acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional lands of the Wajak people of the Noongar Nation, and let us pay our respects to elders both past and present. So today is Remembrance Day, and after the drash, we will observe a minute's silence and also play the last post. We now continue with Asher Yatzah, the blessing for our bodies, on page 194. And please join me. Praise to you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. We now turn forward to page 198 for the Nisim B'chol Yom, and Daniel will lead us. Come on over. And Kai, if you want to come up and sit on the bema as well, because you are doing something later. Thanks very much.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan nasifi v'nai להבחין בין יום ובין לילה.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'aref koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir she'enai me'enai u'numa me'afatai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chori.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvora.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifarah.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Thank you very much. Well done. Please join me now on page 207. There are 8 degrees in the giving of tzedakah, each one higher than the one before. To give grudgingly, reluctantly, or with regret. To give less than one should, but with grace. To give what one should, but only after being asked. To give before one is asked. To give without knowing who will receive it, although the recipient knows the identity of the giver. To give without making known one's identity. To give so that neither giver nor receiver knows the identity of the other. To help another to become self-supporting by means of a gift or a loan, or by finding employment for the one in need. We'll now move into the Pesukei de Zimra, the verses of praise, starting with Mizmor Shir on page 214. Mizmor Shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodod le'Adonai, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונת בלילות, עלי עשה ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בחינוך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שמחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. איש פעלו ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשם העליון, ולזמר לשם העליון, ולזמר לשם העליון. צדיק אתה עמה יברח, כארץ בענן יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצות אלוהינו יפרחו. עוד ינון בסבע, דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד, כי אדוני צורי ולא We now continue with Ashrei on page 250, and Kai is going to lead us. Kai will have his bar mitzvah next week. Okay.
Ashrei yoshbei ve'techa od yechalelu chasela.
Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, Ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav.
תחילה לדוד אמרה ממך אלוהי המלך ואברך שמך לעולם ועד בכל יום אברכך ואללה שמך לעולם ועד גדול אדוני ומהר מאוד ולגדולתו אין חקר דולתו ישבח מעשיך וגבוריתך יגידו הדע כבוד הודך ודברי נפלותיך שיחה ועזוז נורתך יאמר זכר רב טובך יביאו וצדקתך ירננו
חנון ורחום אדוני ערך אפיים ופתוח חסד
טוב אדוני לכל ורחמיו על כל מעשיו ידוך
אדוני כל מעשיך וחסידיך יברכוך
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו וגבורתך ידרו להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו וכבוד אדם מלכותו מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בדור ודור
שמח אדוני לכל הנופלים וקוף לכל הכפופים
עיני כל אליך יסברו ואתה נותן להם רחלם ביתו
פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חרצון
צדיק אדוני בכל דבריו וחסד בכל מעשיו
קרוב אדוני לכל קורב, לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון יריעה יעשה, ואת שנתם ישמע ויושיע.
שומע אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל השם ישמיד.
תחילת אדוני ידע בפיו, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה. מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. Very good. Thank you very much, Kai. That was lovely. We are now singing the final psalm, Psalm 150, on page 218. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 el bakacho, hallelujah, bekia uzo, hallelujah, bekvurotav, hallelujah, kerov gudlo, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Hallelu, betei kashafar. Hallelu, benei v'vachenu. Hallelu, betof u'machol. Hallelu, b'mim v'ugaf. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Hallelu, hallelu, hallelu. Hallelu, betzels leshama. Hallelu, betzels letua. Kol hanshama, te hallelujah. Hallelu, hallelujah. And we conclude the Bezekei de Zimra on page 223. 223. Please join me. You shall always be praised, great and holy God, our sovereign in heaven and on earth. Songs of praise and psalms of adoration become you, acknowledging your might and your dominion. Yours are strength and sovereignty, sanctity, grandeur, and glory always. We offer our devotion, open our hearts in acclamation. Baruch atah Adonai, El Melech Gadol Batishbachot, El Haodaot, Adon Haniflaot, Habocher B'Shirei Zimra, Melech El Chai HaOlamim. Let me just have a sip of water. Please rise for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 224. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shmei Rabba, ve'alma diva v'rotei v'yamlech machotei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'achei l'chol beit Yisrael. Pagala, pagala, u'v'isman kariv, ve'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam olam me'almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitcha v'yitruman v'yitnasei, v'yitala, v'yitale, v'yitala, shmei l'kodeshav refu, le'elam mikol bechata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, tamiran be'alma, ve'imru, amen. Baruch et Adonai, hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, hamevorach, hamevorach, le'olam va'ed. Hamevorach, hamevorach, le'olam va'ed. And please join me on the next page, 228. Praised are you, eternal our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, O God! In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, eternal our God, for the excellent work of your hands and for the lights you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Eternal One, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer Hamorot. And on the next page. V'ha'einenu b'toratecha ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך. ולא תבוש, ולא ניכלם, ולא ניכשל, לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בשועתך. Kai, if you want to come down. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר נכתבים בך היום על לבניך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשופתך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך
ובשעריך.
ויאמר אדוני למשה לאמור, דבר בני ישראל ואמרת להם, ועשו להם ציצית כנפי בגדיהם לדורתם, ונתנו הציצית ככנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לכם ואחרי נכם אשר זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם. אני אדוני אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות להם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem. Amen. Thank you very much. Well done. We continue on page 239, and please join me with the indented passages. The eternal truth is that you alone are God, and there is none else. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, asks God. And upholds the rights of the needy. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. Lie, 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 lie. La 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 la. Mi kamocha b'alim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh, nora tehilot o sefel. נורא תהילות אוספל, שירה חדשה שפרו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם, הודו והמלכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל בקומה בת ישראל, ובטח אמונך, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, Gal Yisrael. We now move into the Amidah, and today we will share the first 3 blessings. Then either use the prayers on the page or the prayers in your heart. Please feel free to sit as and when you need to, or if you've finished with your personal prayers. And we will come together again on page 260 with Oseh Shalom. Page 242. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer.
Ose shalom bimromav, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yeshvei tevel, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 lai. Oh, say shalom b'mumav, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, imru, amen.
As we move into Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the order for reading of Torah on this Shabbat morning, we turn in our Sidurim to page 362. And I'd like to invite onto the bima to open our ark, Judy Hickaway, and to hold our Torah, Ann Jevons. As we come around the congregation during the Hakafah, we'll collect Joy Rourke. There's Joy? Yeah. Oh, there you are. Normally you're on the other side. I was looking for you over there. So we'll collect Joy, who will undress the Torah, and then Nick Wilson, who is going to do the Torah translation. Yes, I know. And that is in honor of the outside of your grandmother, Edith Wilson. So page 362, please rise.
Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai, ve'en k'ma'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'menshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed, Adonai
of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadolu Adonai Ti, Uneromamu Shemo Yachdav.
Lecha Adonai, hagedula, hagevura, v'tiferet, v'hanetzach, v'hahot, ki hol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki hol b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai, amam racham, hamid na'aseh, lechol lerosh. Lecha Adonai, hagedula, hagevura, v'tiferet, v'hanetzach, v'hahot, ki hol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki hol b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai, amam racham, hamid na'aseh, lechol lerosh. Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lahakocho. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lahakocho. Kadosh Adonai. So we are going to separate them.
Okay.
Yes? So first, Aliyah, just read this bit.
Just the first one.
Yes, and then the second bit.
Okay. And you tell me when to...
Yeah, okay. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lahakocho. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lahakocho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu. And you may be seated. Ta'amot l'aliyah l'Torah harishon, Shendel bat Eli v'Sara. For our first aliyah, we call to the reading of Torah Joan Motta.
Baruch et Adonai hambarach.
Baruch Adonai hambarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hambarach leolam va'ed. Baruch et Adonai leheinu melech haolam asher b'chadmanu mikol ha'min v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch et Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Sure. Sarah lived to be 127 years old. Such was the span of Sarah's life. Sarah died in Kiriath-arba, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham proceeded to mourn for Sarah and to bewail her. Then Abraham rose up from upon his dead wife and spoke to the Hittites, saying, I am a foreigner living for a time among you. Sell me a gravesite among you, that I may bury my dead here. The Hittites answered Abraham, saying, "Hear us, my lord. You are a mighty prince in our midst. Bury your dead in any of our choicest graves. Not one of us will keep you from burying your dead by withholding a gravesite from you."
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayeh olam natan b'chenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. You've been called up to Torah in honor of the yahrzeit of your father, Ellis Ryan. Would you like to share a few words? Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Dad's dad left Lithuania in 1901 as an 18-year-old to join his uncle in Wales, the United Kingdom. My paternal grandfather left Lithuania for a better life. Apart from the economic reasons, it was no doubt also to escape anti-Semitism, which would have been rife at that time. Dad was born in 1913 and he and Mum both grew up in Pontypridd, a poor Welsh mining village about 12 miles from Cardiff. There were 32 Jewish families in the village. I remember Mum saying the 32 families tended to socialise with each other. I suppose being kosher and foreigners, they probably found it too difficult to integrate. After the end of World War II, Mum and Dad decided that they also wanted a better life and were deciding to migrate to either America, Israel or Australia. They eventually decided upon Perth as my paternal grandfather had family living here. My paternal grandfather's family had originally gone to Palestine from Lithuania. However, in the 1920s, some of the family members decided to move to Perth as Palestine was proving too difficult to survive financially. So in 1949, after a 6-week voyage by boat, Mum and Dad, together with my 3-year-old sister, Celia, arrived in Perth. Dad's younger brother, Harry, and his father also joined them in Perth within the year. My parents initially belonged to the Orthodox shul. However, in 1960, 8 years after Temple David was founded, they joined Temple David. Dad had qualified as a chartered accountant in the UK prior to the war, and so when he moved to Perth, he had no problems finding employment, and then a few years later opened his own practice in West Perth. Dad was honorary treasurer at Temple David for many years, and for this he was awarded an honorary life membership in 1977. Dad died in 1981, 42 years ago. However, I still have vivid memories of him sitting in shul where I was sitting, usually on the right-hand side, about 3 rows from the front. Dad had the marvellous ability to schloof anywhere, so it wasn't unusual for him to be having a little cat nap during the service.
Thank you very much, Jane, for sharing those memories with us. And it was lovely to hear that many of the family were able to come to Australia as well, and so they could be together here. And I hope today can be a day when you look back with fondness at all the memories of your dad. His ability to schloof anywhere.
Yeah. Which I haven't got.
And all the other happy memories that you have of him. So let's call God's blessing upon you. Mi shebarach avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak ve'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel ve'Leah. May the God of our ancestors bless you, Joan, as you are called to Torah in honor of God, in honor of Torah, in honor of the Shabbat, and in honor of the yahrzeit of your father. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Thanks so much. So I forgot to announce earlier where we're actually reading from. So we are in Genesis chapter 23, and we'll now be starting at verse 7. That's the second aliyah. And you can find that in the Ploughed edition on page 154 and on the JPS in page 41 if you haven't found that already. Ta'amod la'aliyah la'Torah hasheni, Rachel Elisheva bat Avraham v'Sarah. For our second aliyah, we call to the reading of Torah Gwen Carver. In honor of your grandfather?
Yes.
Yes.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarak.
Baruch Adonai Amorach leolam ba'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher b'akabanu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Sure. Abraham then got up and bowed low to the people of the land, the Hittites, pressing them, "If you really are willing to let me bury my dead here, listen to me and entreat Ephron, son of Zor, for me, and let him sell me the cave of Machpelah. He owns it. It is at the edge of his land. Let him sell it to me as an inalienable gravesite in your midst at the market price." Ephron himself was sitting among the Hittites, and in the hearing of all the Hittites and all the town leaders, Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham, saying, "No, my lord, listen to me. I am giving you the field and the cave that is in it. I give to you in the sight of my people. I give it to you. Go ahead, bury your dead." But Abraham bowed low before the landowning citizens, and in their hearing he addressed Ephron the Hittite, "Oh, if only you would listen to me. I will pay the field's price. Take it from me and let me bury my dead there."
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Would you like to share anything about your grandfather?
Nobody here would have known my grandfather, but he was the type of pa that every big kid should have. He taught us love, respect, value of hard work, and joy in living in Australia.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Reminds me of my own grandfather who had very similar attitudes, you might say. Let's call God's blessing upon you. Meshe berach avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak, ve'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. May the God of our ancestors bless you, Gwen, as you are called to Torah in honor of God, in honor of Torah, in honor of the Shabbat, and in honor of the yahrzeit of your grandfather. And let us say, Amen. יעמוד לעלייה לתורה השלישי, Michael ben Yitzhak V'Yenkel. For our third and final aliyah, we call to the reading of Torah Les Wilson, and that is in honor of your mother, Edith Wilson.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach la'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai haTorah.
Amen.
Ephron then made this reply to Abraham, "My lord, hear me. Land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? Go, bury your dead." Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out for Ephron the amount of silver he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver, using weights standard among the traders. So Ephron's land in Machpelah, looking out on Mareh, the field, its cave, and all the trees in the field within its boundaries, passed to Abraham by purchase, in the sight of the Hittites and of all the town leaders. Afterward, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah, facing Mareh, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan. Thus was confirmed Abraham's acquisition from the Hittites of the field and its cave as a fully owned gravesite.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torat emet. V'hainu olam natah b'toreinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Would you like to share anything about your mother?
Yes, well, Mum, so Mum was born in 1920. She came from Felbert, which is just out of Dusseldorf in Germany. She came from a middle-class, quite comfortable family and really had a very nice life for the first 15 or 14 years of her life. And of course, then Hitler came along and their whole life was turned absolutely upside down. My grandfather was thrown into concentration camp. They had to liquidate all their assets to get him out of concentration camp. They had to flee the house that they'd lived in, and I guess I should say the family had lived there for hundreds of years. We go back a long, long time, my brother and I over there. Anyway, she flew, she got out illegally, she went to the UK, she met my father, they married, they had Ron, who's just sitting at the back here, in 1945, and of course they were very cognizant of the whole issue of what had happened with anti-Semitism, which is all very relevant at the moment, of course. They anglicised their name and they made a major decision. They decided they'd migrate out to Perth, Australia, probably because of the Carvers who were here before, because they knew the Carvers.
Okay.
So they migrated out in 1949 with Ron and started their third life out here in Australia. And they loved their life out here. They were very successful. They went into retail for 30 to 40 years. She dressed most of the brides of Perth. So she was very successful. But I would say, and she was new age. She worked, you know, we were a very much a modern family in that regard. But I'd concluded that she'd be horrified to see what's happened in the last 5 weeks. We've never witnessed the anti-Semitism that's in Australia, which was the whole reason of actually coming out here. So we can only hope, I guess she would be hoping that this would finish very quickly and life would get very much back to normal, as what normal would be.
Yes, don't we all? Thank you very much for sharing, Les. I had no idea that you and the Carvers family knew each other in the UK, so that's very interesting to hear.
Small world.
Yes, small world, indeed, indeed. I seem to remember when Ken Arkwright came here, he met somebody who lived in the next street to him, but they hadn't known each other when they were there, only when they came here. So it's very interesting to always to hear that and to hear the connections and to hear about the family life that led up to where you are now today, and Ron at the back. Let's call God's blessing upon you. Mishe barach avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. May the God of our ancestors bless you, Les, and Nick and Ron, as you are called to Torah in honor of God, in honor of Torah, in honor of the Shabbat, and in honor of the outside of your Father. And let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom.
Oh, Shabbat Shalom.
And thank you very much. In the presence of Torah, we take a moment to think of members of our congregation and community who are unwell, and we turn to page 371. Mishe berach avotenu mekor bracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. We are thinking of those in our community who are unwell. Michael Bowman, Sarah Bowman, Beverly Crump, Hilary Garnelas, Steve Lee, Talia Raffaeli, Barbara Goldstein, Lindsay Ettlinger, Noah Ettlinger, John Malone, Rosalind Moore, Cleve Perham, Colin Rockman, Steve Weintraub, Judith Arkwright, Terry Boyd, Melvin Garnelas, Michael Hunt, and Judith Bingham. If you would like to remember anyone else at this time, please say their names out loud or quietly in your heart.
George Sheldon.
George Sheldon. Sheila Rabinowitz and Sonia Grant. Sandy Samuel Dawson. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We now rise for Hagbah and Glilah as we lift and dress our Torah. And for Hagbah, I invite Steve Richards to come up, and Bernie, you'll be dressing our scroll. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני פני ישראל, על פי אדוני ביד משה.
You want to build it up first?
Yeah, we'll build it up first.
You built it up.
There we go.
I'll set it like that.
You may be seated. Our Haftarah reading this morning, Andrew Carver will be reading it for us, and we are reading from 1 Kings, chapter 1, verses 1 to 31, which in the Plout edition is on page 169, and in the GPS on page 705. Thank you, Bernie.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha b'nbiim tovim, v'ratzav v'divreihem, hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, haboche b'torah u'fmoshe avdo, u'v'Yisrael amo, u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
The page number in the Plout is page 169, and in the JPS it's page 705.
And I apologize, it is a long Haftarah, and I can't abridge it. King David was old, well advanced in years, and even though they covered him with bedclothes, he never felt warm. For this reason, his servants suggested that they seek out a young virgin for the king, to serve him, to be his nurse. She would lie close to him and warm the king. So they searched all the territory of Israel for a beautiful girl, and they found Abishag, a Shunammite, and brought her to the king. The girl was exceedingly beautiful. She became the king's nurse and attended to him, but the king had no sexual knowledge of her. Now Adonijah, son of Haggid, exalted himself beyond his station, proclaiming, I will be king. He raised an escort of chariots, horsemen, and 50 men to run before him. He had been born after Absalom. Never in his life had his father rebuked him by asking him, why did you act in such a way? Also, he was very handsome. He met with Joab, son of Zeruiah, and Abiathar, the priest, and they agreed to support him. But Zadok, the priest, Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, Nathan, the prophet, Shimini, the friend of David, and the elite warriors did not side with Adonijah. Then Adonijah sacrificed sheep, oxen, and fatted calves at the stone of Zohelet, near Ein Rogel. He invited all his brothers, the king's sons, and all the royal officials who were from Judah. But he did not invite Nathan the prophet, or Benaiah, or the elite warriors, or his brother Solomon. Nathan then went to seek Solomon's mother, Bathsheba, and said to her, "Have you not heard that Adoniah, son of Haggith, is calling himself king? And David knows nothing about it? Now, look, let me give you advice that will save your life and the life of your son Solomon. Go at once to King David and say, 'My lord king, did you not swear to your servant, saying, your son Solomon will follow me as king and sit on my throne? Why then has Adoniah become king? And while you are standing there talking with the king, I will join you and confirm your words.' So Bathsheba went to see the king in his bedroom. The king was very old, and Abishag the Shunammite was attending him. Bathsheba bowed low before the king, who said, 'What do you want?' She answered him, 'My lord, you swore to me by the eternal your God that Solomon, your son, will follow me as king. He will sit on my throne. And now, look, Adoniah is acting as king, and you, my lord, the king, do not even know it. He has sacrificed oxen, fatted calves, sheep, many of them, and invited all the king's sons and Abiathar, the priest, and Joab, the son of Zeruiah, the army commander. But your servant Solomon he did not invite. Now, my lord king, the eyes of all Israel are upon you, to see who will sit on your throne when you are gone. If you do not tell them, then as soon as you are lying down with your ancestors, my son Solomon and I will be treated as rebels.' While she was speaking with the king, Nathan the prophet arrived. The king was told that Nathan the prophet was there, and Nathan came in and bowed low before the king. Nathan said, 'My lord king, have you said that your Adoniah should rule after you and sit on your throne? Today he has gone down and sacrificed many oxen, fatted calves and sheep. He invited all the king's sons and the army officers and Abiathar the priest. Right now they are eating and drinking and shouting, 'Long live King Adoniah!' But as for your servant, as for me and Zadok the priest and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada and your servant Solomon, us he did not invite. Could it be that my lord the king ordered this without telling your servant who will sit on the throne after you?' This was King David's answer. 'Bring Bathsheba back.' So she came back and stood before the king. David then took an oath, saying, 'As the Eternal lives, who has rescued me from every distress, just as I once swore to you by the Eternal, the God of Israel, that your son Solomon will rule after me and sit on my throne, I'll carry it out this very day.' Then Bathsheba bowed low to the ground and paid homage to the king and said, 'Let my lord King David live forever.'" Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur ka'olamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer va'oseh, hamdaber umkayim, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Al haTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al hanviim v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatat lanu Adonai Eloheinu l'kedusha v'limnucha l'chavod u'tifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarachim otach yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol chai tamid l'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Please rise for the prayer for Israel.
O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Grant them deliverance and adorn them in the mantle of victory. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Let there be peace in your homes, safety within your borders. For the sake of my people, my friends, I pray you find peace. For the sake of the house of the eternal our God, I will seek your good. Amen. We now move to the prayers for the new months, which are on page 378. And I can't believe that it's Kislev next week, which means Hanukkah is not far away. Please join me on page 378. Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace and prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. May the one who in ancient days led our people from slavery to freedom redeem us now from our exile from one another, making all Israel one united people. Rosh Chodesh Kislev, Yeh b'yom shlishi, haba aleinu v'al kol Yisrael l'tova. The new month of Kislev will begin on Tuesday. May it be good for us and for all the Jewish people. May it be the will of the Holy One, ever to be praised, that it bring for us and for the whole house of Israel life and peace, happiness and joy, deliverance and consolation. And let us say, Amen. And we turn back to page 374 to return the Torah to the Ark. And opening and closing the Ark will be Hilary Silbert, and that's in honor of the yahrzeit of your grandfather, Lionel Tate. Do you want to share something about him before you go up? Okay, let's do that.
They can sit, can't they?
Yes, you may be seated. Give them a rest.
So Lionel Tate, my mother's father, was actually Lofka Tatelbaum, which means date palm. He was born on the 20th of March 1899 and he died on the 10th of November 1968. So his family was originally from Nikopol in Russia. My great-grandparents were Alexander and Miriam. So there were 3 boys and 2 girls, and the little sister Pauline Tate actually means I'm related to Joel Mendelssohn as well. He married Rachel Good on March the 2nd, 1926, when he was aged 27. His children were Esther Joan, which was my mother, in 1927, and John Tate in 1930. He was a Freemason. He was the Broadway bootmaker in Nedlands from 1926 to 1950. He founded Pennywise Gift Shop in Bayview Terrace, Claremont in 1953 with his wife Rachel, and they had seen the idea of this sort of a shop when they had visited America. He also founded the Registry Employment Bureau from 1960 to 1966 with his wife Rachel, which was upstairs in London Court in Perth City. So it was actually one of the very first sort of human relations, human resources businesses. He was a founding member of Temple David and was involved with the purchase of this site. He also they had a very successful temple ball back in the day, and there was a thing which you would have no idea about called the tombola, which raised money at the site. He died of leukemia, aged 69, and he was never what was interesting at the time, he was never told of the diagnosis. So everyone else, the family, knew he had 2 or 3 years to live, but he, as the patient, was not told. And so my brother and I were at uni, my 2 sisters were at school, and the other grandchildren, Trudy and Franklin Tate, were in primary school. So, and he would be delighted, Gina, that you are heavily involved with Temple in a skilled and leadership role.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Hilary, for sharing. Don't go away, don't go away. Thanks for sharing that. Now we will rise to return the Torah to the Ark on page 374, and you will open and close the Ark for us. נתתי לכם, תורתי אל תעזבו. אצליים היא למחזים בה, ותומתיה מרושע, דרכיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני, ואליך ונשובה, קדש ימינו כקדם, קדש ימינו כקדם. You may be seated. Rabbi Kim asked me to read the following drush to you, which was actually written by David Gannon, and some of you may actually have heard it yesterday at the Morris Effort Home. Remembrance Day, or Armistice Day, observed on the 11th of November each year, holds a special place in our hearts as we pay tribute to the brave men and women who served in the armed forces during times of conflict. It is a day to reflect upon the immeasurable courage, resilience, bravery, and unwavering commitment demonstrated by those who fought so valiantly for the cause of freedom and peace. As we gather here today, let us remember the countless lives lost and the profound impact that war has had and is still having on our world. Especially now, with the current events in Israel, Remembrance Day serves as a solemn reminder of the human cost of conflict, urging us to strive for a future where peace prevails over violence and understanding triumphs over hatred. To paraphrase Prophet Amos 5:24, a future where justice runs down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. In the year 2023, we find ourselves at a critical juncture in history. The world continues to face numerous challenges, both old and new, that threaten the very fabric of our society. It is during these times that we must draw inspiration from the sacrifices of the past and unite in our pursuit of a better future. Remembrance Day is not only a day to honor the fallen, but also an opportunity to express our gratitude to the veterans who have returned home. Their service and sacrifice should never be forgotten, and it is our duty to ensure that they receive the support and care they deserve. In commemorating Remembrance Day 2023, let us also acknowledge the resilience and strength of the families who have endured and are still enduring the hardships and heartaches of war. Their unwavering support and sacrifices should never go unnoticed, as they too play an integral role in upholding the values we hold dear. As we look towards the future, it is crucial that we learn from the lessons of the past. We must strive to build a world where conflicts are resolved through dialogue, understanding, and compassion, where diversity is embraced, and where the rights and freedoms of all individuals are protected. On this Remembrance Day, let us come together as a community, as a nation, and as global citizens to honor the fallen, support the veterans, pray for the safety of those in actual service everywhere, and work towards a future where peace and harmony prevail. May we never forget the sacrifices made, and may we always strive to create a world worthy of their memory, lest we forget. If you could please rise now for a minute of silence, and then we listen to the last post. Okay, sure. We now move into Aleinu on page 586. And if I could please ask Emily to come up and open and close the act for us.
ומושב בכורו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגן
Please turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We have no names this week for Shiva, but for Shlushim we remember Rivka Matelis, Samantha Wall, Mary and Pathe Johns, Ruth Avisar, Bernadette Clegg, friend of Ray Findlay, Marilyn Crew, Beverly Green, Alice Shalvi. And for Yahrzeits, we remember Ellis Ryan, father of Joan Motta, Lisa Smetana, mother of Daniel Smetana, Peter Benaim, son of Judith Ikawai, Robert Douglas Gillen, grandfather of Gwyneth Carver, Lyland Tate, grandfather of Franklin Tate and Hilary Silbert, Leslie Blonde, father of Simon Blonde, Edith Wilson, mother of Leslie and Ron Wilson and grandmother of Nick. If you would like to share the name of a loved one for Shiva, for Shloshim, or for Yahrzeits, I invite you to share their names out loud or privately in your heart. Frank Newton. Zikronam livracha. May their memories be for blessing. We join together and stand with one another. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shmei rabah. Be'alma divrach hirotei ve'yamlich malchotei. B'chayachon uvyomechon. Uvrachei dechol beit Yisrael. V'agala uvisman karif v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevorach. Leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'a v'yitroman v'yitnasei. V'yithada v'yithalei v'yithalal. Shmei de kudisha brechu. Le'ela min kol bichata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabbayim shmaya. V'chayim aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom v'imromav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say amen. Les, as you're here today, could I ask you to come up and read the notices for us, please? Thanks.
So from there on. Okay. Today it's coffee club at 12:30. Tomorrow we have a commemoration of Crystal Day. Has that been postponed, is it?
Yes, the wider bridge meeting has been postponed. That was going to be tomorrow as well.
Oh, okay. But Crystal Nut's still
Crystal Nut's still on 2:30 at Carmel Primary School.
And Judith Arkwright speaking. 5 p.m, bring them home now. A rally at the Maccabee Oval, all those you can attend that. 12 on Monday is Mahjong Club. Tuesday it's Food for Thought at 10:30 in the morning. Wednesday, busy day, 5:15 Israeli dancing, 6:30 wrestling with Judaism, 6:30 introduction to Judaism, 7:30 Hebrew, maybe I should go, 7:40 adult B'nai Mitzvah. Okay, next Shabbat at 10:30 we have a Bar Mitzvah, Kai Hadassin. Very important, he's here.
Yes, he's here. So family's there.
Okay. All are invited to Kaddish afterwards for this great day upstairs in the function centre. Next Sunday, Mitzvah Day. This year, Temple is supporting 2 local charities for the Mitzvah Day project. Grandparents raising grandparents and 2 grandchildren. I say grandparents, sorry, grandchildren. 12 buckets. They provide one-to-one mentoring to primary school children to help them develop their full potential. How can you all get involved in the Temple Day Mitzvah Day project? Enjoy a morning of lawn bowling at the Yokine Bowling Club, followed by a delicious lunch. This has been all organised by Ray Finlay and David Motta. of David Moss's Osborne Park Rotary Club. Donation will be $40. If bowling's not your thought, come along to support the teams from the sidelines and join in the lunch. Your donation as a cheerleader will be $30. All proceeds will go to the above two charities. If you can't make it, you can still make a donation. Okay. Bank account details are on the flyer. Don't worry about that. There we go.
Thanks
They're the
very much.
announcements.
Thanks a lot. Yes, and the bank account details to make a donation are in a flyer linked in the Mahadash. And, as you can imagine, I came organised. I have printed copies of the flyer. So if you think you can escape, you were wrong. I will give out some flyers later, and I hope to see some of you there either bowling or joining me as a cheerleader. Bowling's not my thing. Or if you really can't make it, please make a donation. There are two really worthwhile charities, grandparents raising grandchildren, and 12 Buckets providing one-to-one mentoring for kids. So for our final song, we are on page 633, Shoma Shoma Yisrael. Page 633. Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, Shmo Sherit Yisrael. Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, Shmo Sherit Yisrael. Ve'al Yovat Yisrael, ve'al Yovat Yisrael, ha'omrim Shema Yisrael. Shomer, Shomer Goy Echad, Shmo Sherit Am Echad. Shomer, Shomer Goy Echad, Shmo Sherit Am Echad. Ve'al Yovat Goy Echad, ve'al Yovat Goy Echad, Ham Yachadim, Shemcha Adonai Echad. Shabbat Shalom to everybody, including those at home. Please join everybody in the foyer for Kiddush.